but it kind of happens in the middle or towards the end when we get going. So, but this, you have no obligation to stay and come back or anything. Just come and enjoy it as long as you wish. My website is zarathustra.tv, and then my social medias are Zarathustra 5D. If you're viewing this broadcast on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube, just be aware that I'm going through a system called Restream, and I can't answer your questions. I only have 2 devices in front of me. So best is if you join me here. The topic of the day is going to be about why some people in this life go through challenges, health challenges or mental challenges, and why some people have such an easy ride in their lives. That's, I think, a fair question, reasonable question to ask. And quite often I've thought about that myself. Yeah. So we're going to get into that. Why we're going to do that, there's some people joining us. I'm waiting for everybody else to jump on board, and then I'm going to get into this topic. This topic that is being discussed today is nothing new. It's been around for ever since. And when the self-awareness mechanism kicks in our lives, we begin to ask questions. We ask different questions, like, who am I? Who am I really? I mean, am I my name? Am I my last name? Am I my career? Because normally when you ask somebody, who are you? It says, oh, I'm a nurse and I live in Alabama, or I'm a mom and I live in Toronto. We're attaching who we are to an object. That's how we identify it. And then also, maybe there's another question rises for you, and that question is, what am I doing here? Why am I on this planet? What is my goal on this planet? What is my mission? That's another question. You know, a lot of people on the planet may not even think about it. They live, they go through their childhood, then adolescence, they get married, they have kids, starting having a business, trying to accumulate more objects, making more money, and making their lives comfortable. And then, you know, and then we die and we go. But the self-awakening mechanism kicks in, and we start questioning things, especially when life doesn't go in our way. Things don't go on our way. We begin to question things. A long time ago, I read a book from Dan Millman, and the book's name is The Way of the Spiritual Warrior. It's a long time ago. I mean, since then, I have outgrown the teachings of that book, but at that time, it was very powerful. And at the end of the book, what I really remember from this book, which always impacted me, and I always think about it, is a quote that Van Millman wrote. And he says, we go to the spirit when our foundation is shaken, only to find out that it is the spirit who shakes it. We go to spirit when our foundation is shaken, only to find out that it's the spirit who shakes it. So we go towards God and self-realization. We question life, our existence. When things go wrong, when a bad accident happens, when we lose somebody we love, when maybe economically we lose a lot of money and our lives changes, Maybe when someone dumps us and we're heartbroken in life, some impact, something strong shakes us. Or all of a sudden you're diagnosed with some kind of diabetes or whatever, and they have to amputate your leg. Or you get in an accident, or whatever is the scenario. There's millions of different scenarios that happen, and it shakes the foundation of your life. It shakes this illusory foundation that you believe you have figured life out, or you believe that you got it all taken care of. And then something happens. And normally on people in this planet, they want to control things. So I'll give you an example. Like, I have this friend of mine, a few years ago, he came to a lot of money. So, and then the pandemic happened. And here he is coming to a lot of money, and now he goes and buys something in Idaho, like let's say a summer vacation place. Then he goes, buys an RV, a brand new RV. And, in the beginning, I don't understand why he's doing, but, I ask him a few questions and I'm talking to him, then everything clicks for me. And then, he's got his cash, he's got his Bitcoin, he's got his gold coins. Some of the Bitcoins, they went into one of these keys that they're not on an exchange platform. So he is trying to diversify his assets, and he's buying these different things in case if everything goes down and he has to leave his home in Los Angeles. So he wants to be in control. By having an RV, he can go live in his RV, or by having another location, property in Idaho, he goes and lives there. And he thinks, like, by putting his money here and there and hiding it or putting it in different vehicles, he is in control of his assets. It's a very good idea. It's fantastic. There's nothing wrong with it. The only thing is that it's an illusion. All of this is an illusion. You are never in control of anything. And it doesn't matter how much you're trying to, or it seems to, you're trying to create a situation that is damaged. Things won't get rocky, or if something happened, you can have it waterproof or accident proof or whatever. It doesn't matter. If life wants to put you through a sort of awakening, through some kind of story, trauma, it will do it. Doesn't matter how secure you're imagining you are. This security that we're imagining we have is only an illusion. Oh, I got $50 million worth of assets. I have a home in Greece. I got one in London. I got one in LA. I got one in Sedona. I have one in Tulum. I have my money here, my money there. I go see my doctor every 2 months, 3 months. They do complete checkups. They check out my prostate, my heart. I do tests for cancer. I have insurance for this, insurance for that. I got my kids in best schools in the world. I drive my children to school in one of these Mercedes-Benz SUV, which is like a tank that literally it can roll down the hill 5 times and nothing happens. I'm trying to secure everything. And so, but it's still an illusion. Maybe you go to bed and you sleep at night, and it gives you an idea of feeling like you have security, but you don't. It's an illusion of security. It's not security. It's only an illusion. Because at any time, anything can happen in life. And everything that you are thinking that you have created and set up to make you feel secure can belly up if the spirit chooses that you need to go through a traumatic experience and you need to wake up to a certain thing that only through trauma you would get it. Then that is going to happen. It doesn't matter how many safeguards you have. Now, let's go to the topic. Now, what does this have to do with why some of us have been born poor, why somebody is born disabled, why a child has to be born blind or without any arms? Why at age 15 or 16, a beautiful guy, a friend of mine, they're coming back from a party, they're like 16 or 17 years old, handsome guy with his friends coming back from a party, they've been drinking, the driver was drunk, he falls asleep behind the wheel, there's a car accident and my body becomes paralyzed. My friend becomes paralyzed from his waist down. Handsome guy, very handsome. And he's been paralyzed for 30 years. Why does that have to happen to him? Why didn't that happen to me? You know, when something bad happens to me, whatever that is, and I've had traumatic things happen to me, your first thing that comes in your mind is always like, why me? Why did this happen to me? For me, it's like when my mind say that, I say, why not me? Why shouldn't something bad happen to me? Why should it happen to someone else and not happen to me? What's special about me that always everything good has to happen for me? What's the difference between me and other people? What have I done to deserve a smooth ride all the way to the end of my life? What have I done for it? I haven't done anything to deserve that in comparison to other people on this planet. Or people have done a lot of good things, and then at the end, something bad happens, or they end up dying very lonely, or dying from a lot of pain or disease or misery. But they were really good people during their lives. Or some really nasty, vicious people, you know, having a very smooth ride all the way to the end. It doesn't make any sense, does it? Does anybody feel like it makes any sense? You're welcome, Susie, if you want to make a comment, you're welcome to.
Sorry, I don't want to make a comment. I'm sorry, I'm just saying it makes sense.
You're just saying, thank you, appreciate it. Yeah. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, right. So now there's different ways of saying it. And it depends who you're going to talk to, and it depends what you believe in. You know, what is it that what is your belief system? And you can choose a concept, whatever concept you want to believe in. We can say it's your karma. Okay, you were born disabled, or you became disabled in this life, either physically or mentally, and because you were an asshole to other people's in past life, or you burned people, or you were part of an army that killed a lot of people, or whatever. And now in this life, you have to pay your karma, right? So you did something bad in the past life, or you were a part of something, and in this life, you're paying it off. That's one way of explaining it. Does it make sense? That's a concept. There's another way of putting it, like I remember from like Ramana Maharshi was talking about it, which is one of the most respected and the saints of the modern time in past 200 years, one of the most enlightened, amazing people that they've been on this planet, Ramana Maharshi, from southern part of India, from Tiruvannamalai. So the saint, like he explained, is like before you're born, you go to the presence of Ishvari. Ishvari is Lord God, Her Majesty. And they write a script for you, and they give you a script. You know, they give a script that in this life, you are going to be living 75 years old. You're going to be married. You're going to lose a child. You're going to have a business. You're going to get cheated. And then you have another business and you become successful and blah, 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 blah. These are the people you're going to be meeting. This person is going to cheat you. This person is going to love you. And all the actresses have agreed on being a part of this life training program, and this is going to happen, and you have to experience it. And then, you know, after you die, you come back, and we're going to give you another life, and in the next life, there's certain things you are going to experience. How does that sound to you? Anybody? Does this sound, does it make sense? Do you feel like this makes sense or no?
Yeah, I think it makes sense.
Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Right.
May I clarify something, Zarathustra?
Yes?
Yeah. May I clarify something?
Yes, please.
When you were thank you. When you were speaking, you mentioned how God, you were saying how God creates a story for you to become awakened. And if we are God, then didn't we create the story ourselves to awaken ourselves?
You can put it that way. That's a nice narrative. We can put it that way if that sits with you.
Okay.
You know, choose whichever narrative you like. Or you can go to narratives like from religion, like there is a heaven and there's a hell, and at the end, when you're dying, you go back and God is going to decide based on your good deeds, you go to heaven, and your negative deeds, you go to hell. That's a story that they told us, they told me when I was a kid. So they're all, you know, it's like, which one works for you? Which one do you like? Or that, since, I'll tell you another story. How's that? It's the newest version of this, that you have come on this planet, and because you're on a mission, and you have come to awaken, and you're a co-creator with God. You're co-creating because you're God, and you know, you're the little God, and the big God, you're the same, and you're co-creating together, and together you're meant to transform this world and change this world. Isn't that a good story? Wow, you know, I feel empowered. Me and God, you know, I'm on the righteous side, and I come to this planet, and I'm cooperating with God, and we're to transform this world to a higher consciousness and creating a utopia, creating a perfect world, that there is no disease, no health issues, there's no war, there's no envy, there's no pornography, there's no prostitution. Everybody's equally living very well. And don't you fantasize about that world? I do sometimes. And that sounds great. So that's the new narrative being pitched right now. And use your powers, learn to use your mind to manifest things and manifest a better reality for yourself and for others, but first for yourself. That's a nice story too. It's very empowering, isn't it? The reality, now if you want my 2 cents, I can tell you I can tell you what I think, or I can tell you what I have come to understand. Maybe that's a better way of putting it. The reality is that that's also a question the mind asks. This is a question the mind asks. So I can say, okay, I'm paying my karmic debt. And this, like, I had a story like last summer that I had to nurse my elderly mom, and it was really a very tough situation. And you know, I ended up living with her for a month and a half. It was really tough. It was horrible. It was like a really tough situation. And in a way, I can say, okay, I was doing sadhana. I was doing my spiritual penance. Serving your elderly mother in the spiritual world is very noble. And or what Mother Teresa did, you know, serving poor people and just being like selflessly available for everybody and doing things. It's very noble. It is. But I can use this story that I did my sadhana. Sadhana is spiritual penance, spiritual work that you have to do. Like in the old days, if you go to the temple and there is a enlightened master, and you go and sit with the master, with an enlightened master, and you want to become a devotee, you want to serve the master. So maybe for 1 year, the master gives you a job. Your job is to sweep and clean the temple. And maybe after 1 year, you go to the master and you say, well, master, I've been here with you for 1 year, and you haven't given me any satsang, any darshan. All you do is you tell me to clean and sweep the floors and clean the toilets and wash the dishes and cook food for you. And I don't get any insights. You heard this story? Because it's very, very common, or it used to be very common. But I came here, especially these days, we are very impatient with the guru, and we want instant gratification. We want the guru to give transmission to us immediately. And if I don't get it immediately from you, you're not good enough. And since there's a million different teachers out there, I'm going to dump you for another teacher. So I'm going to go from one teacher to another teacher to another teacher to the one who's going to deliver to me right away, because I want it right away. But I don't realize waiting and serving God is a part of the deal, because I'm impatient. I want to drive through McDonald's or Burger King or Starbucks and get my instant coffee or hamburger. And I'm going to marry somebody and I'm going to divorce them the next year and move on to the next and next, because I'm in an age of instant gratification. But the spiritual world doesn't work that way. You cannot manipulate God. You cannot manipulate gods. And you can't rush him. Everything it will happen on its own accord, on its own speed. And it doesn't matter how bad you want it and how much you want it and how much you're expressing it, you have to pay your dues. And it's similar to cooking a stew. If you want to cook a very good stew, and there's, let's say, venison in it, or lamb, and all these other stuff, you're going to have to cook the meat slowly and gradually, and then slowly by slowly, then you add up the other things. You don't put the meat with the carrots and potatoes and the herbs all together in the pot and turn the pot, the degree to the highest level, and boil everything for 2 hours, 3 hours. You don't rush the meat to cook because it's going to be bad. You have to cook it gradually and add the rest of the ingredients. So, why am I saying these things? What does this have to do with the topic of what Hilde, our sister, brought up? Some of you who were at the last retreat in Tulum, I don't know if you remember, one day I was reading through my book, and I'm reading the sentence, and I was sharing with you that don't pay attention to what you're reading. What you're reading is not what it is. So there's one line here, and there's another line under it. The message is not what you're reading. The message is in between the two lines. Look in between the two lines, which is an empty space. That's where your message is. What you're reading is pointing out in that direction. But what you're reading is not it. So there is something such as karma, and there is not. There is something such as free will, and there is not. There is something such as being a co-creator, and it's not in the same time. It does exist, and it doesn't exist. So, in a matter of speaking, from the point of view of someone that has tapped into a higher level of consciousness, somebody who's talking from fifth dimensional consciousness, somebody who's talking about an enlightened place, full realization, okay? Somebody is delivering a message from the oneness. Someone has come to full realization, is communicating with their students who have not come to final realizations yet. So we're going to have to use language. And then using this language is going to create the opposites. So if Papaji tells me there is karma, then I come back and say, well, Papaji, you told me there is no free will. If there is no free will, so everything I did was because God was doing it through me. So now, why am I having a karma? Because why am I responsible for my wrongdoings? I didn't do it. It was God doing it. Right? Does this make sense? Are you with me? Are you here? Yeah? Right. So, but one day, Papaji says, yeah, there is karma. And one day it says there is not. Okay, but how is this going to benefit you, or how is it going to benefit those of us who are going through a hardship, either financially or emotionally, physically or mentally. Okay, so let's say I really want to have a partner in this life. I want to have my love. I want to find my woman in this life, my partner. And I can't. Somehow, whomever I meet is not the right fit. So, Zarathustra, you're saying all these things. How is this going to benefit me? I feel lonely. How are these words going to help me? Or how these words, let's say I'm suffering from a disability. How these things going to help me? Because ultimately we want to find help because we want to feel good and we want some answers. We want to know why. Why has this happened to me? Why do I have to suffer in this life and my sister or my brother is having such an easy ride? The way I see it, and I choose to look at it, again, you don't have to do this, but this is how I look at it, right? Is I look at it, this is my destiny. This is what, because this is my reality. I can sit down and beat myself up about something I did in past life. I don't deserve anything better because I was a bad person and I want to believe that. Or I can look at this in this life, which is the only life I know because I don't know any other lives. This is the only life I know. This is the only experience that I've had and I have in this moment. And this life has been to a certain point challenging, and in the meantime there's been a lot of blessings and beautiful moments in it. But it is what it is. My life is what it is. It's not anything else. It can change to something else, but it is what it is. So, can I accept my life the way it is? And yes, I understand the question. There is the question, why am I suffering physically or emotionally? Why am I lonely? Yes. Why I can't have my love of life? Yes. Why can't I be more wealthy? And my nephew is very wealthy. Yes, these questions are valid and they're there. But how is that going to change my reality in this moment? If Papaji shows up and says, Zarathustra, the reason you're not wealthy, the reason you don't have the love of your life, the reason you're not famous, the reason you are not taller is because of this, 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 this. Okay, Papaji, the master comes and gives me these reasons. Fair enough. But how is that going to change my current situation? Am I just not lonely anymore? By him explaining to me, am I suddenly have my soulmate with me? Am I suddenly have more money? How would that change? If you know why some people suffer and some people have to go through the struggle of life versus those who have a smooth ride, would that change your current situation? If you know the answer, are you less lonely? Are you more healthy? Is your disability gone? Is your financial situation solved? How would that change anything? Or that's going to create more issues for you? Do you understand? Because this is a very critical moment in this conversation. If you understand this part, you're on the edge of a transformation. You can transform. Literally, you can go shift into a higher level of consciousness by understanding what we're talking about right now. The answer you want is because you want to understand it with your mind. And if I give you an answer, your mind is going to come back with 5 more questions because you trying to understand something which is not understandable. You are here. You cannot be anywhere else. This is the only reality you have. Whether you chose it or it's been chosen for you, it doesn't matter. This is your reality. This is where you're at. You want to improve it. Everybody wants to improve their situation in life. Fine. And you're working on it. It may help you, it may not. You may be able to improve it, you may not. But acceptance of what is a game changer. If I simply accept who I am, where I am, the way it is, and I accept others for who they are and where they're at, I don't have to hang out with somebody I don't like, but I accept that's the way they are. And I'm accepting myself the way I am. This is my reality. The moment we want to explain it and we ask why, you're opening up a can of worms. There's a million other questions will pop out. Why me? What did I do in my past life to deserve this life? To be mentally ill, to be lonely? Or I can use this opportunity, I can turn the poison into medicine. I can look at it like, okay, I'm lonely, I'm single. Somehow existence is not giving me the love of my life. Okay. Can I be comfortable with myself in this moment without the love of my life? Can I hang in this moment without a story? Can I enjoy this moment? Or I'm doomed not to enjoy this moment because existence is not giving me the love of my life. So then, until I find the love of my life, I'm not going to enjoy a moment of life. I'm going to suffer because I keep asking why. Why? You understand here? Are you with me, you guys? Do you see the point? It's all one perspective. It's a shift in your perspective. From asking why me? Why is it happening to me? Why is that happening to my family? To simply accepting what is, from wishing it to be different, shifting your consciousness to being able to hang in this moment and be present with this moment. See if you can find beauty in this moment. Can you find beauty in being lonely, being alone? Can you find beauty in your disability? Can you find value in not being financially wealthy? Is there value? Is there something you can find that it can bring you to happiness? Do you have to be rich financially to be happy? Are rich people happy? Or they're just as miserable? Certainly, money will bring comfort in so many ways, but does it bring happiness? If you're bitter and angry, or you have a health issue, does money, having a lot of money, is it going to change that? If you're a person who is not trusting other people, you have a paranoia that everybody's out there to get you, does money going to help you not to be paranoid, or it's going to make you more paranoid? If you live in fear and you're worried about future, what's going to happen to me? What's going to happen to my kids? What's happening in the world? Is money going to change it for you? No, not in my experience. So again, if I give you an answer to your question, I haven't done you any service. I have disserviced you because I'm giving you a concept. When I go through hardship in life and there's a period that things are tough, everything's falling apart, you know, my car gets stolen, my motorcycle gets stolen, I fall down and I break my arm and I get kicked out of my apartment, or my girlfriend dumps me. I'm using hypothetical situations, okay? And a series of bad things, negative things happen to my life. So I'm going through hardship. So I'm going to change my perspective. Instead of saying like, why me? Why is this happening to me? I can look at it and say, okay, what are the lessons to learn? How can I turn the poison and a negative experience into medicine? How is these series of negative things that are happening to me, I can benefit from them, instead of asking why it's happening to me? Okay, I'm somehow in this life, I'm going to be disabled. I have disability in this life, and I'm going to be living with disability. The maximum, at the end of the day, it appears to have a choice. You know, I can just poison myself with 100 sleeping pills and a bottle of tequila and kill myself. I can always die. I don't have to live through my disability in life. I have an option to kill myself. Or I have an option to kill other people, get in the car and drive fast and be angry and just go smash my car against other people. Or I can say, okay, this is my reality in this life. I accept the challenge. I'm not going to ask why. I'm going to accept the challenge. And the challenge is, can I find joy in this? Can I turn this disadvantage into an advantage? Can I go beyond my mind? Maybe I cannot walk or run, but maybe I can do out-of-body travel. Or maybe I can come to this place within myself that is so peaceful and it's so blissful that I become needless. I was talking to one of my disabled friends, and I said, okay, does that department down there, can you get it up? He said, no, there's no feelings. It doesn't get up. And he's got a girlfriend. I said, well, how do you do it with your girlfriend? Well, I use energetic work. And I go, okay, all these years that you've been single and you haven't had a girlfriend, what have you been doing? He learned to regenerate and use the inner energy to have orgasm, cosmic orgasm, because he cannot have physical orgasm. But he went beyond. He went to another level of consciousness through meditation, through chanting, through tantra. He has learned to make love to himself and have like amazing orgasms. So he has transformed the game. But would he do it if he was able and he could walk? Most probably not. The situation of disability forced him to go beyond his human capabilities and tap into a higher level of consciousness. Sometimes I talk to him, I said, don't you get lonely? He says, no, I have beings come and visit me. I don't get lonely. I have visitors here. And it's very juicy. I get news from other galaxies. I get news from other dimensions. I can talk to animals and everything. So he transformed his disability, the poison, into medicine. Or you can sit down and keep asking why. Why me? Why me? Why me? And suffer. The narrative we tell ourselves is a concept, including karma, including having free will or not having free will, including being the co-creator with God or not being the co-creator with God. This is a concept, it's a story. If it suits you and makes you feel good, go for it. It satisfies your mind for a while, but that's not the absolute reality. Absolute reality is different. Absolute reality doesn't have a story. It simply is. Can you use this life while you're still alive in this body to reach this level within yourself that you feel complete and whole? Can you become needless? Maybe that's why you're on this path. We call it the path of awakening. Maybe that's why things happen to us, forces us to go to the spirit, to investigate our own divinity, our own power, through challenges that life gives us. Maybe, and maybe not. Maybe just it's random. Who knows? Okay, anyone has any comments or questions? If you do, you can unmute yourself.
Thank you. I'm not sure what I'm going to say, but just that there's a contentment. It really resonated what you just said. To really accept, sitting here right now on this Zoom, to just really accept that. Yeah, it's really made me. Yeah, it's really made me feel. I'm not sure what I'm going to say. I'm not going to plan what I'm going to say, but a peace came of everything is it is okay when we actually really accept, when I really accept that everything is okay. It's not making sense coming out of my mouth as it is in my head, but I want to say thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, you know, there's been, especially in my spiritual career and path, and past few years, past 2-3 years, and even past few months, that I feel stuck. As not stuck as far as my own spirituality, stuck as far as my career in spirituality. Like, well, fuck, this is not going anywhere. I'm not growing. I'm not making more money. I am not producing any products. I'm stagnant. I have a book that I completed and I'm not putting it out. I made meditation music that I'm not putting out. And every time I want to do something about it, it's just like no energy to produce anything. I'm not getting invited to the new countries or getting discovered. So there are moments of frustration come for me that, yeah, I'm a failure, or I just like, I didn't make it, and maybe I should go open up a coffee shop. Or, you know, the mind comes with all these thoughts. And for me, it's like I look at it. I take a look at the news. It's like Fox News. It's NBC. It's BBC, London News in my head passing by. And I'm checking out the news, and this is what is going on in my head. And I'm like, okay. And then to calm myself down to a point of, it's not happening, it's not happening, there's nothing I can do about it. Let's wait. Let's wait. Let's wait. Let's wait till it's happening. And then lately, especially during our retreat in Tulum, all of a sudden I just start seeing like the wave is rising. Like I'm a surfer, I'm lying down on my surfing board, waiting for a wave to come to go for a surf, because you cannot go surfing if there's no waves. You're just lying down on your surfing board. And now all of a sudden I can see the ocean is rising, the wave is rising. And I met a group of wonderful people at this retreat, and we really bonded. I would say it was one of the most amazing retreats I've had. And throughout my career, I've met a lot of beautiful brothers, sisters. A lot of you I've met and I've connected with you. And all of a sudden, this group started giving me a lot of energy, or it appears to be that way. It was like, wow, you know what? I want to write a book about the modality of my healing. I feel my energy is coming back. I want to produce things. I want to create new things and expand. All of a sudden, the energy starts to build up. It's like powering up. But for past few years, it's just been dead. It's just been flat. And now it's shifting. So you are going to go through periods of your spirituality that nothing is happening. In fact, you may feel like you're going back, you're regressing, and you beat yourself up. Oh, I used to be really good. I used to wake up at 6 in the morning and do my meditation practice, and then I would go to yoga, and then afternoon, I went for a walk. I was eating really well. I was in such a great shape. I felt so close to God. Now I'm smoking cigarettes, and from 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm starting to drink tequila, and I'm eating a lot of junk food. I'm not meditating. You know, things can change. But even in this period that you're going through, that you're drinking, smoking cigarettes, you're not meditating, you're not doing anything godly, you don't realize that's a part of your path. That's the waiting period. That regression, you're regressing, is a part of your journey. It's a part of your awakening. All of it is a part of the awakening. None of it is just random. Yes, Julie, go ahead.
I just want to share that I really resonate with what you just said. And actually, after the retreat that I've attended with you, I've gone through this regression. I no longer wake up super early and do my meditation. I actually have not really meditated since our retreat, which is a big, it's a change for me. And what I actually found is I've embodied more teachings by not trying to do any spiritual practices. And I really understand, like, from what you talked about today, it seems that in my observation, just from this shift of shifting my narrative about what spirituality is, because there's all these stories out there about what spirituality is, what it means to practice spirituality, and just dropping these external stories, then finally you embody the story for yourself. So I was just washing the dishes, not meditating, not doing my usual things. I'm just washing the dishes and I get these downloads. And but the downloads are different. It's not just a message. It's like, oh my gosh, I finally get it. Like, I've been hearing this message for years, but oh my gosh, finally I get it.
Right.
I think that's the difference for myself anyways, between listening to the stories that are being told and trying to practice what people are telling me to practice, than to just let go, try to not figure it out, and then you hear something and it comes from a place where you're like, I get it. I'm not just hearing it.
Right.
I get it.
Right. I love it. I love it. Beautiful. Yeah. It becomes a knowing. And it a lot of times it happens when you least expect it and you're not even trying. And then all of a sudden it reveals itself. Not because you're trying. It's in the absence of trying. Or not even not trying. It's neither absence of trying or trying. It's just you're just living life. And all of a sudden you realize something. It reveals itself to you. I'm very happy to hear that. It's funny because, I don't know, I'm a little bit weird and I kind of like to weird people out. Sometimes a part of me wants to fuck around. Maybe it's a child part, likes to mess around with people or whatever. And here in Tulum, like, there's a lot of ultra spiritual people. And, I'm at like Ikal or at Holistica, and, I'm sitting with 2-3 people I met, and they don't really know me, but, they checked my website, they heard a little bit about me, or they, well, so Zarathustra, what kind of spiritual practice do you do? And they're vegan and they wake up at 6 in the morning and they meditate and they're wearing malas and everything is good. Every word they say, it's positive and they look beautiful and they're very holy. I go, No, I don't meditate. I hate meditation. But no, I just like to drink tequila and smoke cigarettes. And, I watch porn. And all of a sudden, oh, we have 5 minutes after, oh, excuse me, I got to go. And they just disappear. They never talk to me again. Now, maybe I do these things, maybe I don't. But a part of me is like this kid part wants to mess with these people. And then every once in a while, someone hangs in there. Says, oh, wow, you know what? I like drinking mezcal in the morning too. Do you have a cigarette, Zarathustra? And then I go, yeah, let's have a cigarette and do a shot. And the person is hanging in there. They're not getting afraid. They're not running away. Every once in a while you meet somebody who can hang in there. And yeah, you're hanging out, walking on the beach, going on a motorcycle ride, and then downloads come, or there are moments that then I give them messages, or there's a transition, a transmission happens, and I can't say I am transmitting it to them because I'm just a vessel here, but from them not freaking out and hanging in there, then they give themselves an opportunity for something very valuable to come into their lives from just hanging out, having drinks, and smoking cigarettes. Because now you're not hostage yourself and putting these boundaries on yourself that everything has to be holy, otherwise it's not going to happen. Because existence doesn't give a shit, like if it's holy or not holy. Transformation and downloads happens at any moment. And the more you relax into being yourself, the more you are one with existence, the more you're just like not trying to make it happen. You're just available, means you're learning the most important lesson this life is trying to teach you, to be. To be. Simply being. Just like your cats and dogs. The cats, most of the time they're lying down somewhere napping. Sometimes they're playing. And then when they're hungry, you give them food or they go hunt. They're not trying to transform life. The trees, the vegetations, they don't have an agenda. They're not trying to prove anything to anybody. They're not trying to get anywhere. They simply are. Your dog, your horse, they simply are. Even your kids, they simply are. They're playing. They're not trying to get to somewhere. They are. And somehow as human beings, we lose that. And from just being in our natural state of being and really being one with everything, we start to get into our heads and we fall into the mind, and it's everywhere but here. So what happens, 50, 60 years go by, you miss life, then you're diagnosed with some kind of cancer and you die. And that's what's happening. You go to America, talk to people, to elderly people, or talk to people over age 50 something, and they're, oh yeah, once I retire, I'm going to buy an RV and traveling the US. Once I retire, I'm going to go do yoga. Once I retire, I'm going to go on a great diet. Once I retire, I'm going to go exercise. Well, why don't you do it now? And once they retire, because I used to sell life insurance, and then I was selling health insurance. So many people I saw with my own eyes, and I think that was a part of my spiritual training. Existence wanted me to understand this. So many of these people that I sold life insurance when they were 55 years old, and 10 years after, I saw them again, and they were diagnosed with a terminally ill disease, or they had triple bypass or whatever, or they are crooked and they can't walk anymore. And they didn't do all the things they were talking about doing when they were able, and they were just postponing it to another time. But there is no other time. This is the only time. This is the only time you have in your life. It's now. And how ignorant we are, and we have this arrogance of thinking there is going to be more time. How many people they have to die in front of you at young, suddenly, in throughout the life you have to get it? Don't you see people you know die? And how come we don't get it? It doesn't click that your life can end at any moment, or your friend's life can end in a moment, any moment. And this is the only time you have. What do you want to do with it? Can you hang in here? Can you enjoy this moment? Can you live in this moment? Or constantly I'm going to ask why. Why is the world like this? Why this happened? Why is happening? Why there is famine? Why there is disease? Why the global warming happening? Can you find beauty in this moment in your life? And appreciate what you got. And not take it for granted. For today, really enjoy whatever you got. Live with it. Including your headache, including your knee ache, including your health issue. Can you hang in there with it? That is a part of, I feel, that is the message. It's not a utopian life in the future. It's not something somewhere else. It's now. It's here. By the way, I have a 7-day retreat in Poland. It's actually 3 hours outside of Warsaw. I can't pronounce the name of the place, and I will be teaching. It's going to be. It's interesting because the gentleman, my organizer who set it up, he wanted to be a different kind of healing training program. So we decided that we modify it, and it's going to be heart awakening, self-love, self-acceptance into this retreat, including third eye activation, and also I'm going to be teaching how to restore the auric field, long distance healing, shamanic healing. But I kind of like his suggestion because I'm mixing it up with other teachings that I do. So, and the retreat is fairly inexpensive. It's 1 week, everything included, somewhere in the countryside. I need to post it on my website, and I've been procrastinating. I was supposed to be doing it yesterday, Monday, Tuesday, and every day something has happened that I had to take care of. But I'm hoping by Friday I have it on my website. So I just wanted to put this out in case if any of you, because I'm going to Norway, and then I go to Poland, and then I go to Germany. But if somebody feels like coming to Poland and spending a week there with me, you're welcome to do it. I've never been in this part of Poland. I don't know I've never been at this place. I haven't seen it, but from what I hear from my organizer, I'm interested. I'm interested to see how what it's gonna be like. We're also currently trying to work something out. Maybe we're able to put a retreat in Toronto. Both Shadis and our other sisters, Mona and Bani and Manije, they're all helping. So I'm very excited about new places. And and I decided that I'm gonna write a book about the modality of my healing work. My other sister Shadi is gonna help me. So yeah, it appears that there's some energy is moving, and excited. I mean, yeah, we'll see what happens. Maybe none of it happens. Maybe they come up with a new pandemic next month and then they shut down all the borders. It's like I'm open to whatever life is going to throw at me. Hopefully it's going to throw some goodies, but it doesn't go that way always. But there is no attachment to results. And that's another gift you can give yourself. If you live your life without any attachments to results, then how can you suffer? If you're not attached to how things go, your way or your opposite, how can you suffer? You have eliminated the possibility of suffering in your life because you don't have an attachment to how something goes. You've come to this point that you're okay with whatever. How can you suffer? And you freed yourself. So anybody go ahead, please.
You're also offering you're also starting to offer the life training program?
Yes. Yeah, thank you for reminding me. Yes.
Yeah, because I've done it with you a few times. It's very powerful as well.
Yes, I also have this one-on-one training program, live training program, and I've modified it to some point. I can do it in 2 months or 3 months. Also, on limited basis, I do accept any serious students if they want to come and have a one-on-one training program in person with me. There's certain time of the year I can open my home to it, and if you're really serious and you want to see how I live my life, how I deal with things, and it's in a very chilled way. This is not like we get up at 6 in the morning and we're meditating or yogaing or running around doing spiritual stuff. This is actually, it's very powerful because I just live my normal life with you, but then the downloads take place. It's a very, very powerful way because it's very relaxed. It's not like I gotta get it. It's not like a workshop or a retreat that I have to deliver. This is like living life. and then boom.
It's just like being in your presence during your own lifestyle, and then through that, you just see the text, like, you know how you were saying there's the lines and then the thing beyond the line.
Yeah, yes. Yeah. So anyway, that's available too right now. If you have any questions, you're welcome to contact me. Write an email or info@zarathustra.tv. So I'm gonna, if you have no questions or comments, I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm really trying to be consistent with the academies. I've been, I know I've flaked out in the past and haven't been very consistent, but now I just feel like being consistent with it. So our next academy is going to be next Wednesday, inshallah, God willing, if I'm alive and the world is here and internet exists. That's what the plans are, which you never know what's going to happen next. That's the beauty of it, That's the beauty of life. You don't know what's going to happen next. It's like being a kid in a candy store. You have no idea what's going to happen next. And yeah, if you turn on the news, all kinds of bad things happening. But if you look at your own life, a lot of outside of the news, you find a lot of exciting things happen in your life. Because you can go down the grocery store in Norway to one of these supermarkets and meet the love of your life this afternoon, tonight. He's waiting there for you. Or tomorrow at the gym. Anything can happen at any moment in your life. Isn't that exciting? Your life can completely change. When you're open to the possibility, it doesn't have to be this mundane, repetitious life that it's same thing over. And it could be same thing over and over and over for 1 or 2 years or 3 years, like a robot. But also, it can suddenly drastically change to something else. Good or bad. That's life. As Forrest Gump says, run, Forrest, run. Have you seen that movie, Run, Forrest, Run? Actually, that's a very spiritual movie, I have to say, because here's this half retarded, he's kind of retarded, the actor, the character in the movie, right? Julie, you're laughing at me. Forrest Gump is a bit retarded. He's slow. But he's also kind of enlightened. If you pay attention to this movie, he's very present in the moment. And he's very naive. People fool him. But at the end, he ends up having huge shares of Apple, Macintosh stocks. And, everything works out for him. People somehow take care of him. He goes to war and nothing happens to him. He starts restaurant, it works. Whatever he does, it works for him. But he's very present in a moment. So there's a quote at one point. He says, my mama tells me, life is like a box of chocolate. You never know what you're going to get. So you don't have to buy into the idea that you're stuck and your life is boring and nothing's happening. Because that's also an idea. It's a narrative you play for yourself. No matter how mundane it is and how much you're doing the same thing every day, all of it can change at any moment to something else. Any moment. You just be open. but not hoping. Thank you for joining me. A copy of this broadcast is going to be emailed to you, those who are joining us on the Academy. And simultaneously, it's going to go on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and I'm recording on Instagram. So I look forward to seeing you next week. If you have any questions or comments, please write an email to me at info@zarathustra.tv. My website is Zarathustra.tv, and my social media pages are Zarathustra 5D.
Thank you.
Yeah, nice meeting you, Susie.
Yeah,
Hope.
lovely to be here.
Yeah,
Thank you all.
look forward to seeing you. Welcome to the family.
Thank
All right.
you.
Yeah.
God bless.
God bless
God
you too.
bless.
Yeah.
God bless. God bless.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye. Recording.
Those friends of ours on YouTube, Facebook, and forgot the name of the other one. Oh my God, my memory is not there. Thank you for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Namaste. Twitter.